2020 season, I guess it would be.
Yes.
What's the general consensus? What's the general feel, coming into this new year?
I mean, I think we're starting off with a big fight, and this is something that I think we'll be proud of, and it's our launch of another 29 fights after this, so we have a 30-fight season coming up, which we'll announce shortly. I would say 8 of them will be international, the rest will be domestic, but Julia Budd versus Cyborg is a big event for us. So we're proud to host it, and just want to let you guys know that this will air live in Brazil on ESPN. That deal was just cut this morning, and we also have distribution throughout the Latin American territories, which Ryan Grab has the list. Ryan will be happy to get you that list after, but it's going to be throughout Mexico and Venezuela, Colombia, and so Latin America will be able to watch this event live.
Does that have anything to do? We know the behind-the-scenes change has been done about where you're reporting and who's in charge and all those things.
No. This is something that we've been doing for a long time. I mean, this is the Fox Sports Latin America deal ended, and that was part of that Disney buyout of Fox. So eventually there will be no more Fox Sports in Latin America. So we made the jump. We knew that was coming, and so we've been working on it for the last 3-4 months, and it's something that we're glad we could put together, because we have a lot of fans in Brazil that be very upset at us, and they have no problem venting their frustration if we didn't have it on air live.
Are you able to say, I know it's still very early, but the whole Viacom, CBS, and now Showtime involvement, are you able to say how you plan that'll anticipate Bellator, or how it'll affect Bellator, I should say, or is it too early? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's too early, but I think that there's a lot of great possibilities, and those are the things that we're talking through right now. Stephen and I have probably spoken more, and I've known Stephen for 20 years, so it's a good relationship, and he and I have been talking probably more in the last 5-6 days than I have in the last 18 years with him. So it's getting on the same page. He has a lot of responsibility on his plate, and they're going to continue with boxing and growing boxing, and my job is to run Bellator, and that's how it's going to operate.
But Cyborg, I know you're excited about this matchup. It is big. So bring Cyborg over. Can you explain why that was somebody that you were interested in? You certainly worked with her in the past before.
Yeah.
Why did you feel like, hey, we're still interested in having her services? Let's bring this free agent over.
I mean, anytime you can bring over, she's the greatest female fighter of all time. And I think I've been there from the very beginning. We were the first ones to do female fights in Strikeforce in 2006. We had Carano versus Alina Maxwell. That was the very first fight. And the rules were different. It was only 3 rounds fights, and it was much different. The California State Athletic Commission, 3 minutes. Yeah. They wouldn't allow 5-minute rounds for the females at that time. That's how far back, it goes. So we tried originally to do it in March when Frank Shamrock fought Gracie, but the commission said no. We have allowed male fights, but the females are not allowed to fight yet. And I just this is unbelievable, because to me, I grew up in a martial arts school. There's females training with you every day. They can't fight just like the guy. They can fight just like the guy. It's let them compete at the highest level. And so they wouldn't do it. In December, we finally got approved. And it wasn't until 2009 where the commission actually allowed 5-minute rounds, 5 rounds. And so, it's been a process. And, and Cyborg was one of the first fighters that we put on TV as a main event. So, to me, she's an icon in the sport, and anytime you can sign an icon to your roster, you got to go do it.
I know you don't necessarily like to talk about the competition, but you've actually taken time to build a women's featherweight division. The UFC just has 3-4 names top that compete at 145. So do you feel like there's an argument to be made that this belt is for the world champion? It is the most important belt at 145 pounds?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I don't think the UFC ever had an intention to start a 145-pound weight class. I think they wanted to be in the cyborg business. Right, and that's what it was, because to build a division around it takes time and effort, and you got to go out and sign the people, and you got nurture the fight. So I think that that was really one of the things that happened was they wanted to tie her up. They tied her up. Now she's free. Now she's here. We have a lot of girls she can fight, and it starts with Julia Budd, who, by the way, looks like she's in amazing shape, and she's going to come and bring it. And I tell everybody, don't underestimate her. This girl can throw down, and she's dangerous. So I'm expecting a great fight on Saturday night.
Just any updates on some of these big matches?
When you say co-promotion, you mean like the one we had in Japan with Ryzen?
Right.
You know what? Saki Yubaro, he's going to try to make the fight on Saturday, but he's not sure. But we'll sit down with him probably sometime in, February if it doesn't work out, that he can make it here on Saturday, and we'll have a conversation because we have not had a follow-up conversation since I left Tokyo, and and he hosted 2 big fights and sold 40,000 tickets in 2 days. It's pretty amazing, that it's probably the only territory that I can think of that could sell 40,000 tickets in 2 days on New Year's Eve. I mean, it's unbelievable. So it was a great feeling because in Japan, to see the Bellator logo up on the screen, to see the Bellator fighters walk out, and it was just a very proud moment because I've been there, I've worked there, I know how important martial arts culture is to Japan. So it was a great feeling.
And you played women's flyweight. Ilima just got done with the USL tour, but where are you guys thinking about next?
Well, that's a Monday conversation I'll have with Rich and my team. But this is all hands on deck for this fight, and next week we'll have something worked out.
Last one for me. This is a big fight. You've had so many just from Strikeforce and everything else. I guess where does this one, having this big featherweight fight, rank in, the accomplishments of Scott Coker as a promoter?
I mean, it's something I'm very proud of. It's definitely something that when I look back and think about my MMA career as a promoter, we've done a lot of great fights, and it's hard just to pick out like the one, but I feel like this is right up there because of the historical significance of it, and Bellator crowning, not crowning, but having Cyborg step in, challenge the current champ, and Saturday will determine where it lands as far as historical significance and the performance of both athletes. Well, we have a big footprint in Europe. Currently, we have a big footprint here. We just started our Asian expansion in Japan with the co-promotion that we did with Ryzen. We'll continue to do fights there. I'd love to go to Korea at the end of the year, but Latin America and the Asian territories of Japan, Korea, and China are definitely on our bucket list. And listen, when you have a company like Viacom, CBS that owns Bellator, I mean, look around. It's you're on the lot of Paramount that Viacom owns, and they own CBS, they own Showtime, and then they have distribution all over the world, right? So when we go to London, we just go to the Viacom office. When we're in Japan, we just go to the Viacom offices. It's a very comfortable feeling knowing that you could go anywhere in the world, and you could set up shop, and you can go to business, and not have to start from the ground up, so to speak, And DAZN, they've been great partners. This is a fight that's on DAZN. And I think it's going to do well for them. And it's been a great relationship. They've given us the support to go out and keep signing some of the biggest fighters in the world, like Cyborg. And there's more to come, believe me, because at the end of the day, fighters want to be treated well. They want to be treated with respect, and they want to make good money. And that's it. And I think we can accomplish that for any free agent out there.
I want to ask you mentioned the talent card. There's so many specialists on this card. Raymond Daniels, Ava Knight, and AJ Agazon, real true specialists in one martial art. What is it about athletes like that you're willing to take a chance on and employ at an early time in their career, whereas other organizations might want to see them be more well-rounded or turn into what you consider quote-unquote complete martial arts before they take a risk on them?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like Ava comes from like a boxing background, but she's trained with Jay and she's trained at Unbreakable, and it's been interesting to see how she has developed and how fast she can develop. But she still has aspirations to box too. So we've been working around her boxing schedule and her boxing training, but to me, fighting is fighting. At the end of the day, she's going to have to go in there and fight somebody that can take her down, and to me, it's always interesting to see how the fighter develops through the last 6 months or 8 months, and she fought in September. So let's see how she does here and how she develops. And same thing with AJ. He didn't have the first outing was tough, and now he's back and he's going to fight. Is it Adele? He's fighting Adele, and they, I think they have some beef and they're talking. So let's see, what happens in that. But you're talking about a jiu-jitsu guy at a super high level and great wrestler. And so to me, that's what I love. It's like let's just round them up, get them together, and see what happens. And Raymond Daniels, you talk about one of the greatest martial arts fighters ever in the history of martial arts. Is this guy has proven he could do it in kickboxing, he could do it in point karate. I've seen Raymond since he was 10 years old, fighting on the tournament circuits, all over the country, and he's super talented. And for him to make the crossover to MMA, he's been doing very well. So let's see how he performs on Saturday night. So it's a test. I mean, really, it's like, look, these fights are all a test of their skill level and their training, their commitment, and this is no different than for those guys that we just talked about.
Scott, could I just go ahead?
It's a 22nd, right? Yes. Well, we have a big fight for James Gallagher, and we're going to come in force. In fact, I'm going to make that fight because I want to see it. I've never been to a fight where the audience is singing and cheering, and it is quite inspirational and something I missed the last one, but I'll make sure I'm there. But the Irish fans love fights, and they love to go out and party, and we're going to bring a big party for them on the 22nd of February. Yes.
Could I ask, going back to Chris Cyborg, since you've been at Bellator, signings of Fedor, Chael, Wanderlei, Lyoto, Rampage,
Bader.
Gegard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
Is Chris as big a signing as any of those male fighters?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about the great. I don't. I can't explain it enough. It's like when you look at the body of work, not just today, but look at the body of work. Is there a greater female fighter out there than Chris Cyborg, or a bigger name? She can go by one word, and people will know who that is. And you could go into this lot and say, hey, do you know Chris Cyborg? They will know who it is. So she's done a great job building her brand, and I think she's done a lot of that by proving her skill in the cage. So she's going to be a tough fight.
And tying that up with as I think John mentioned about the elision, if you like, in CBS, like the more kind of the family feel of Bellator and CBS. Is there an opportunity for the likes of her now, if she does go on a winning run with you, to promote herself and be properly known in America if she's on CBS in front of a mainstream audience, like she probably didn't have 10 years ago with women's MMA?
I'll say this, not just in the distribution of where, Bellator ends up, right? And what I mean by that is, we have a great relationship with DAZN. We're going to continue the relationship with DAZN, but are we going to move off of Paramount? That hasn't been decided yet. We love Paramount. They've been good to us. We're going to do a great job for them this year. But I'm excited about what else can we do besides just a distribution platform, right? What digital content distribution can we make at CBS or Showtime? Paramount Pictures. Can we do something on the theatrical side for her? It's like I'm going to a meeting. I'm actually going to a meeting here. I don't want to say what studio, but what show, but I'm going into there because they want to talk about a few fighters that they want to integrate into some of their shows. So
reality TV?
It's not reality. It's
Game show?
Nope. It's a drama series.
Movie?
It's a dream series.
Movie
Yeah,
series?
it's a series. But I don't want to say what it is because who knows how it'll develop. But at least these conversations are happening, and that's where I see the synergy of all this coming together, and the beauty of the Viacom and CBS merger happening.
Thank you.
If I felt they could win, yes, I'd definitely do it. No, I'm just joking. Listen, if it was important to the athlete, and I felt that it was a competitive fight, then why not? Let them do it. We let our guys fight in Ryzen. I mean, people say, well, are you worried about, the stock of your athlete fighting? Hey, to me, this is about their martial arts or their boxing or their combat sports journey. And if it's important to them, we'll let them do it. And Cyborg, she has a provision, she can box. So if she chooses to box at some point, we're going to go support her. And, let them do it, man. Let them get it on. Yeah. Yeah, I think, look, those are, you know, those are big dollar fights, right? And so that's why they're trying to make the move and challenge and want to fight these guys. But I think that it will happen again because some people want to see it. You know, I think that there will be some more boxing guys going to MMA and MMA guys going to boxing. And that's something Steven and I talked about was, you know, is there any kind of mix here that we could put together, whether it's, you know, fighter versus fighter, or is it, you know, an event where you do both different styles on the same night? I mean, the door's open and those conversations are happening, but, you know, it hasn't been determined. But I think it will happen at some point.
Do you like Bob Aaron's idea of just one boxing fight, one MMA fight?
I mean, I haven't heard that, but, you know, listen, if as a fan, if it was something that, you know, two fighters that I really liked, I'd watch it. You know, I'm a fight fan. I'm a boxing fan. I love boxing. I grew up watching boxing and doing martial arts and watching boxing. But, you know, I love martial arts. And to me, it's like, you know, boxing is America's martial art, right? And to make the crossover from boxing into a complete MMA fighter, it's quite a journey. And it's the same other way around. From an MMA fighter to become a boxer, it's a long journey. So to me, sometimes it can be interesting. And if they want to get it on, then I'm fine with it.
Is it something that you would, to add to that, is it something that you would bring into a Bellator event? Because obviously you do kickboxing as well. Or would it have to be outside if you were considering?
No, why not? You could do it. Yeah.
Bellator.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen the system that we use in Europe when we do kickboxing, we have the ring and then it literally tears down in like 12 minutes and then the cage comes down and you have you could have boxing, kickboxing, and MMA all on the same night with a 15-minute break in between to
Do you think that will
change.
happen? Do you think it will happen at some point?
Yeah, I think it'll happen. In MMA, let's do it. No, it's you know, but who knows? Like eventually, those fights might happen. You know, those crossover fights. But I would say this to the boxers: get ready for some leg kicks, buddy, and get ready to get taken down because it's not going to be the same. I always said Conor McGregor should have been allowed to fight Floyd Mayweather in MMA rules, right? He went out there and put on line as a boxer, right? And he's an MMA guy, got out of his comfort zone. So hey, they should reciprocate. That's how I feel. I'm just saying. Thanks, guys.